Welcome to the ISB show, Asian World Cup qualifiers edition. Here with Rahi, and Roy is somewhere to be found. Where's Oh, there he is.
Ooh! Oh, there he is.
Let's go. Let's go.
Something happened today, Roy, didn't it? Do you think they had a quiet night in Jakarta last night? Do you think it was quiet, relaxed, everyone was calm?
I think a lot of people are going to have hearing loss for the rest of their lives after last night, because there better have been fireworks, a lot of screaming, a lot of staying up all freaking night, because that was an unbelievable day, a monumental day in the history of this national team, Rocky. What the heck do you think, man? That was extraordinary.
We'll get to it in a second. So for all the viewers out there, stay with us for the next, 20 minutes or so. We're going to go through all the Asian World Cup qualifiers. So if you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel. Boys, let's get into it. Where should we start? I don't know. Where are we going to start today, guys? Which team should we start with? Guys,
we knew this was coming. We knew this was coming. Let's be honest about this, Roy. This wasn't a fluke. This wasn't lucky. This has been coming for a long time. We've seen performance after performance, defensively sound, fighting for everything. And the thing that was missing, Roy, was that big result, those big goals. And boy, did it happen this time. It doesn't get any bigger than this, Roy. Beating Saudi Arabia.
Dude, that's massive. Saudi Arabia, get this in your heads, Indonesia. Saudi Arabia beat Argentina at the World Cup, and you just beat Saudi Arabia, who just got a brand new world-class coach, Hervé Renard, and it was such a brilliant performance against a very, very strong team. They're not doing great, but they're a very strong team. And in the first 8 minutes, did you guys see the two chances in the first 8 minutes? Both should have been goals. Yeah. At that moment, I started to get very, very worried. I was like, oh no, not this story again. Not this story where they miss these chances and it comes back to bite them. But they missed those chances. They made two more. They kept the clean sheet. Martin Pass was flying all over the place. Do you notice how he just flies for every ball, no matter how far away it is from the goal? It's unbelievable.
He's
His
a Garuda.
style, I love it. But what a game, guys. What an extraordinary performance from a team that continues to rise in Asia.
Yeah, of course, big news with Indonesia beating Saudi Arabia. Rahi, we've been waiting for Marcelino Ferdinand to show up. I talked about him many videos ago about this youngster's doing big things, and he finally shows up in the game against Saudi Arabia.
We were asking earlier, where are the goals going to come from?
Yeah.
Who's going to be the goal scorer for this team? Is it going to be Ragnar or Atman Goen? Is it going to be Stroik? But we forgot. We almost forgot. I almost forgot about the wonder kid himself. 21 years old. I mean, this was his moment. He's done it again and again for Indonesia. Struggled a bit domestically with Oxford at the moment, but he comes, and what a big moment. What incredible goals. I mean, the first one's insane. The second one, the composure, the run. But beyond that, he was all over the field doing everything. And I just love his little celebration after the goal, takes a seat, exhales, and reminds everyone in Indonesia he is the wonder kid, Roy. What a performance by a remarkable player.
He ain't even 21 yet. He's only 20. Only 20, so he still qualifies for the under 21 discount. But Roy, go ahead.
Amazing. Indonesians, you should be excited about this guy. You should be very, very excited about this guy. When was the last time there was a young, super exciting prospect on the Indonesian national team? I'd love to hear it in the comments. But this guy seems to be a superstar in the making. The first goal was so extraordinary. If you watch it back again, he had to curve that ball not only to the far post, but between like 6 Saudi Arabian players standing between him and that spot in the goal. It was unbelievable the way he was able to lace it perfectly in there. I like the guy, man. He's been quiet over the past few months. Let's be real. He's been kind of quiet for Oxford as well. But he stepped up, and I hope this is the first massive step of many, because he was, man, what a hero.
The composure, I mean, the finish, even the first goal, the feint, then the shot. The second goal, the delicate little chip. I mean, that's class. That's class, my friends.
Spicy, man. Let's not forget, keep in mind, this Indonesian team, even though they've upped the level of talent by naturalizing players, by getting them on the national team, by doing this huge worldwide scouting effort, still no one seems to be giving credit to the man who's putting it all together.
Mm-hmm.
The man who is taking this group of players who have never played with each other before, who are all new to this team, this complete restructure, and making it work, making them motivated, excited, getting them to play that super high tempo attacking soccer. It's Mr. Shin Tae-young, the Korean coach. He's done an extraordinary job in this game particularly, but in general, to take a team of guys who haven't played together over the past years and do what he's doing, and some credit.
He outcoached Hervé Renard in this game,
which is another incredible feat. Unbelievable.
No, it was a very smart tactical performance, right? They came out guns blazing in the first half, the first period, and then what they did so well, Roy, was that they sat, defended, and then when they countered quick, right? They countered with pace, and they were super effective going the other way. They conceded possession, which was very smart against the Saudi Arabian team, because you know you can defend. I mean, there were warriors all over the field. Just another incredible performance. Verdonk, excellent performance. Ivar Yenar, another great performance. I mean, these player after player, you can go down the list. It was all impressive, right? Orat Mangon, also another thorn in the side of Saudi Arabia. Every player put in a performance, but they were smart in conceding the ball, breaking when they needed to, and when they did it with so much incisiveness, so much danger. And a lot of that comes from that they found a goal scorer. I mean, they've always had him, but he emerged on this stage now.
Yeah, and if you look at the stats, if you don't watch the game or even the highlights and just look at the stats, it seems like Saudi Arabia completely dominated this game. What did they have? 72% possession, but it didn't matter. The better team was Indonesia. The deserving team, even Hervé Renard said it. You see his quote? He said, Indonesia deserved to win this game. It's not common that you hear a national team coach come out and say the other team deserved it. Usually there's excuses, there's VAR, there's reffing, there's a bunch of other things. He said, no, Indonesia deserved this game 100%. Congrats to them. They were fantastic, man.
And to do it in those tough weather conditions in Jakarta as well, right? That's the way it goes. Okay, boys. Can the Indonesians start dreaming of the World Cup again? Because this is a completely different picture. Now the picture has completely shifted. We'll get into what happened in the group in a second for the rest of the teams. But can they start dreaming again? Can the fans start believing again? This is a big deal. 4 matches to go. A lot to play for.
Why not? Why not? There are some things to figure out, some things to clean up, and we can talk about those in a second. But right now, where they sit, 6 points, they're right there. The group has opened up like the parting of the Red Seas. And there is opportunity, Roy. There's opportunity for the Garudas to fly all the way to the US, Mexico, and Canada in 2026.
Yep. And Indonesia's rise has made this the most fascinating group in Asia. Let's be real. Because of their rise, this group, each game week, there's changes. Someone bumps up, someone bumps down. There's a complete change in the standings. It's unbelievable what a single point can do to a team in this group. And that's where Indonesia is. They're in a group that 1 point will make the difference between World Cup qualification and no qualification. There's the runaway winner on the top, but besides that, it is a battle to the death, and Indonesia is fully in the midst of it. And if they get one more good performance in this next game, they could be in a qualifying spot.
It's interesting. It's interesting. So the 4 matches obviously remaining are Australia away, which is a very hard match.
That's going to be
and
tough.
I would say the Japan away game, throw it out the window because let's just call that a loss, right? The games against China and Bahrain, with both of those, are home in Jakarta. That is going to decide the World Cup situation, or at least going to decide whether Indonesia makes it through the next round. Those are such crucial matches that if you can get anything Australia away, that's like a nice icing on the cake too.
Yep.
100%. The one thing I will say, the one thing that disappointed me about this performance, just to say we need a little more composure from the Indonesians late. The red card, Hübner with the red card. There were a couple moments I thought when the game was in hand and they let the emotions get the better of them. As you're moving forward, you know that there's going to be moments at the end of these games. They're going to be dramatic. You have to see these players keep their composure a little better. Not to take anything away from this result, but remember, now you have a chance to actually qualify. It means 100 minutes of pure focus, right, Roy? You can't let your concentration slip. And that's the only thing at the end. I felt the red card very unnecessary.
Sure. I don't know if I agree with this one, Rocky, because that was a small price to play. That was a small price to pay for an extraordinarily aggressive, intense performance. And that red card, it didn't look like a stupid red card. It was him fighting for his life to win that ball back. And I appreciate that fight. And if that's the price they pay, a super late red card that ended up meaning nothing to the end result, I'll take it. I love that attitude. I love that relentless energy. I love the intensity. I love the aggression. And if it means getting a red card at the very end of the game, I'm fine with it. I would not want the Indonesians to reduce that at all, because this is what makes them special.
Okay. So I'm going to eat my Indonesian chip here that I was eating last time as a tribute to the Indonesian national team, as they deserve it on this day. Guys, we get to see Indonesia again sooner than we get to see the rest of the teams, because, of course, coming up very soon is the Southeast Asian Championship. Now, we don't know which players are going to come for that, and that all we can figure out later. But we do get to see Indonesia again. But just want your final thoughts for both of you as we finish off. I'm going to eat my chips while you guys finish off the final thoughts on the Indonesia match.
Can we go get a proper Indonesian meal? Not some chips, get some nasi goreng or something, guys. That's what we need to do to celebrate. What a day. What a day for Indonesia, but thoroughly deserved. And that's what I want to say. We've seen this coming for a while. This is a team on the rise. This is a performance that we've been waiting for, but it's also a result that this team, that this country deserves for the way that they've grown. And this is only the beginning, my friends. I really do believe that it's only the beginning.
Agreed 100%. I'm a little suspicious of Sahil here. I think he's eating American chips. Those look like the veggie chips I see at Trader Joe's, man. Look at the way he
made in Indonesia. Made in Indonesia. Made in Indonesia.
I don't know, man. I think I'm more Indonesian than those chips. Speaking of, I feel Indonesian, I have something to say.
Go ahead, Roy.
Oh, you went to the next class.
You complained last time that I kept saying the same thing, okay? I have a new phrase I have learned from my Indonesian lessons, and I will say it now. I hope I don't run out of breath. Selamat untuk kemenang ambusar teman-teman Indonesia. Kalian luar biasa. Biasa.
If anybody understood that, please.
All right.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you, Nora. And thank you, Indonesia out there. We will see you again soon, and best of luck. Moving on, boys, to the next team. This, guys, Roy, you've spent time in Australia, right? Rahi has spent time in Indonesia, by the way. But Roy, you've spent time in Australia. What is going on? Because this match was a situation where Australia goes 1-up in 30 seconds. They score. And you're like, okay, game over. And then they almost are like playing around. Like some guys are like, oh, I'm going to like touch the ball here, touch it here. Oh, whoops, I missed another chance. Whoops, I missed a chance. And then in a span of 2 minutes, Mr. Abdul Jabbar complete changes the match. It's a wild, wild situation. And then Australia ends up scoring at the end to score 2-2. But what the heck is going on, boys?
God. It's wild down under. I don't know what to say, because this was such an unexpected game on so many levels. The way it starts, a terrible mistake from Bahrain. You just assume that it's going to be an easy walk in the park victory for Australia. It really seemed like it was heading in that direction. And then out of the blue, just lapses in concentration. I mean, the finish on the first goal from Al Jabbar is incredible. But it's a mistake. It's off the defender. The second goal is basically an own goal almost. I mean, it's a header that goes backwards off the post, and then that's what frees him up. It's mistake after mistake from the Australians, giving away a game that they were completely in control of. And then they do find the late magic. I don't know what to think about this Australia team, Roy. It's like they're in a weird vortex or something. I don't know that they can. I mean, this is really concerning. They get the point. But boy, what a game.
Yeah, this was really, really, really painful to watch, as have most of Australia's games in this Asian World Cup qualifying campaign. It's been painful. It's been a qualifying campaign to forget up until this point. I hope they wash their faces, they wash their hair, they wash their brains and forget about everything that has happened in the past few months, because it has been disastrous for a team that's supposed to be better than this. I don't know if I want to say good at this point or great, but much, much better than this. They've shown it over the past couple decades. But again, like I said in the past couple videos, being a supporter of the Australian national team is pain, is agony. It's hope followed by a full defeat of that hope. It's just a team that you know should and could be so much better, and they're just not. This game was a perfect example. And how funny that who scored the Kusini Yengi scores in the first and in the last minute of the game.
Yeah.
Well, he looks like a player. He does look like a player, and it's good that he scored the couple of goals. I mean, the crazy thing, all said and done, they're probably in decent position after ending the year where they sit in the table.
They're lucky they are.
But they don't deserve to be there, you might say. But they have every opportunity at this point. I mean, if they get it together, they should be fine.
They have every opportunity, but the thing is, they're in a situation now. Yeah, 7 points. They're right there in that second position, right ahead of the fray, who are all at 6. But the issue, you come out with these matches and you think of a match like this where the game is done, right, basically, and then Abdul Jabbar gets gets the goal, and then you're thinking, then suddenly the collapse. It just shocking to me. A lot of Australian fans out there on social media were basically saying it almost feels like they don't want to qualify for the World Cup.
Yep.
They're making it so hard on themselves, and it's a really strange thing, right? Because you go into this group and you're like, Japan, Australia. Okay, these are the two teams at the top. They're going to be fighting neck and neck, and one team's gone in one direction, and one team's gone in another direction. So can we talk about that team now, or do you guys have anything more to say about the Aussies?
Well, I think they're going to have some time, the Aussies, right, to figure this out. They don't play for a while now, and it's really a mentality thing. That's what I see. This is not a team that should be losing or tying these kind of games. They shouldn't be surviving late against a Bahrain. Coming off a great World Cup, this is a team that for some reason mentally things aren't working. There's a lack of confidence, especially in front of goal. The amount of chances they've spurned is wild. They did it again in this game. They did it against Saudi Arabia. So there's something needs to be figured out in the mentality, and they're going to have some time. It can be done. But maybe they got to refine their mojo. I don't know how they're going to do it, but that, to me, is the key.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, man, I miss Tim Cahill.
Yeah.
I wish this Australia team had a player like Tim Cahill. They need that leader. They need that big personality. They need that goal scorer. Harry Kewell's another one. That's
Harry Kewell.
a
Wow.
phenomenal player from
Roy's
past.
bringing like past players back and being like, yeah, we need it back for Australia. I think that just shows you the state of Aussie.
Need that attitude, man.
The era is kind of gone. You know where the era has come back to, though? It's come to the Japanese. And let's talk about this. Another dominant victory for the Japanese. Now they're scoring off quarter kicks, set pieces, headers, beautiful moves on the pitch. They're doing everything. Like this is.
I mean, what more could you say about this team? I mean, it's after the Asia Cup, we asked, can Japan approach these games? Can they be professional, right? Can they dispatch these opponents with limited problems? And can they treat the region the way that they should, which is that they are the most dominant team in Asia? And there's absolutely no question right now who is the most dominant team. They are the class of Asia, and they're showing it game after game after game. And Roy, no one even poses remotely a challenge to this team.
I mean, you think about this match, right? Like you go to it's a Chinese and Japanese. Everyone knows the historical rivalry, right? You're going into a very hostile environment, right? It's a hostile environment. And they go through and make it look like a cakewalk, aside from a few minutes here and there where China had the goal.
Yeah, let's be real, guys. Japan is the king of Asia, and deservedly so. And I feel great pride saying that, because the Japanese, this national team, this soccer culture, the supporters, everyone involved, they're humble, they're disciplined, they're neat, they're nimble, they're lively, and their supporters have such incredible manners. We see it constantly all over TikTok and Instagram, the way they clean the stadiums after matches, the way their team leaves the locker room after matches. This is a culture of tremendous discipline. It's a culture that seeks greatness in everything they do. And this national team aligns perfectly with the best parts of Japanese culture. They are a phenomenal representation of the country, of its people. And what a joy to see the rise of this national team. It's been decades in the making, and we're seeing the fruit of all that labor, of all those efforts. And again, great match. And that environment was super hostile. You heard the booing of the national anthem at the beginning. You saw the laser pointers throughout the game. I think a couple fans ran onto the field as well. It was very hostile, very loud, dangerous even, with the laser pointers. They can make you go blind, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Japan well on their way to the World Cup at this point. I can say it. I mean, they're at 16 points. The next closest team is the Aussie Shambles we just talked about at 7. But, Indonesia, a bunch of other teams there at 6. Lot to be decided. We'll wrap up this group, which is Group C, and we'll move on to Group B. And with Group B, we're not talking about Korea. Now, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of chatter in our comments from our viewers out there between some Japanese and South Korean fans. At least it sounds like that's what's those the fans that are talking about. Oh, well, has Korea been the more dominant force? Has Japan been the more dominant force in world football? I think that's a conversation for another time in another video. But for the sake of where we are right now, we're seeing a lot of matches that this Korean team is dropping points. And here was another one. And we got to give credit to Palestine as well.
Yeah, I think, Sal, you're absolutely right. That the key is we have to give huge credit to Palestine. This is an incredible result. Now, this is 2 games against the best team in the group. Palestine has taken 2 points off South Korea. Incredible performance again at home for a Palestine team. You don't need to be reminded how difficult the situation has been for these players. And for them to get this result is frankly incredible. It's a testament to the resiliency of this team, how they defended the whole game. And honestly, Roy, they deserve this point. It's a well-deserved point, and another one for Palestine against Korea.
Yeah, what an absolute shock of a result. What an extraordinary, heroic performance from Palestine. The goal scorer, Zaid Kumbari, Benghazi-based Al Ahly player. Tremendous, tremendous goal. To get that goal against a team like Korea is just unbelievable.
It was a beautiful goal. It was a beautiful goal, a mistake, but then the way he pirouettes, to be able to finish it is fantastic.
Gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. And this is, I mean, what would be the equivalent of this? Would it be like it's unimaginable for a team like Palestine to come out and beat Korea or tie Korea, but it's inspiring. It's inspiring for the rest of the region. It's inspiring for teams that are trying to come up in the region. It's inspiring for nations like India. Indonesia doesn't need that inspiration anymore because they're there now, but it's such a tremendous performance.
Yeah. It's like Iceland beating England, kind of that vibe. I have to say, the conversation you brought up, Sal, was about, is Korea or Japan the more dominant force, or have they been the more dominant force in Asian football?
There's no question.
But what we can say, let's not answer that question right now, but let's answer who is the most dominant player in Asian football. And I don't think there's a question. Once again, Korea starts and ends with Mr. Sunny. He is the team. He represents the team. He does everything for this team. And he is an incredible player. Once again, He's the man on the score sheet for this.
Yeah, you know it's funny because last time you spoke about we all spoke about Son Heung-min being like the player, and a lot of Korean fans are saying, well, we have a balanced team and we have a bunch of great players that play all. We know a lot of these players that play out there, but when it comes to push comes to shove, when you need someone to get the goals, get it done for the South Korean national team, it seems to always be Sonny, and that's just the way it goes.
It's the persona. It's his what he does, his personality, how he inspires the team. He is the heartbeat of this team without a doubt. And there is no player, I think, in Asia who's able to take a team the way he does, take a game the way he does, and take it over. And we haven't seen an Asian player like that in a long time, perhaps ever. And I do agree that the team is well balanced. They do have talented players across. But nobody, and I mean nobody, matters to this team more than Sonny himself.
Yeah, I want to move on to the next team in this group, or next to the rest of the group, because the way it looks like Korea is still on top. But there were two teams that were very close, Roy, like that were fighting it out. They drew last match, and that's Iraq and Jordan. And one team took a much bigger step forward. And despite how much I love my man Yazan Al Naimat, who got another goal for Jordan against Kuwait, they weren't able to get it done, and Iraq was.
This Iraq team, game by game, day by day, they just continue to do the right things, getting the right results. This is how you qualify for a World Cup, boys. This is how you do it, because they're getting all the differences, and the margins are small. They're not winning these games by a lot, but this is an impressive 1-0 victory, and it's what gets them, I think, to pole position now at the end of the year. They're looking very, very, very good to qualify for the World Cup, Roy.
They're in a very healthy place. They're second with 11 points. Jordan breathing down their necks right behind them, man. This is going to be a tremendous next stage of World Cup qualifying for this group. But let's give a shout out on that beautiful goal by Youssef. I mean, fun fact for you guys, do you know where he grew up playing?
I do actually, so I won't answer because let's see if Rahi knows. I do know the answer. It's not Iraq. I can tell you that much.
Not Iraq. I'll give you a hint. Let me give you one hint, just so it's not such a open-ended question. One of your favorite players grew up playing here as well.
Did he grow up playing somewhere in Eastern Europe?
Nope.
No.
One of your favorite American players grew up playing.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Right, let's go quick, guys. This is
Germany.
too long, man.
Germany
is the correct answer. Yes.
It's Dortmund Academy. So he played for Dortmund's academy, just like our boy Christian Pulisic. Okay. Born in Germany, spent time at Feyenoord. Very, very good player, and he came through for Iraq today. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. It's a big win, and I know we have a lot of Iraqi viewers out there who are excited. Look, you guys, it's going to come down to Iraq and Jordan. I think the rest of the teams in the group are probably not going to be there as much as we've talked about how good Palestine has done with the results. They don't have the points, and Kuwait and Oman are not there. So it's really going to come down to this. That's the way this group's going to shape out. All right, let's finish up for the final group.
June 10th, Sahil. June 10th, I believe, is the game. Jordan versus Iraq.
Are we going? I
would like to go. Is it in Jordan or Iraq? I think it's in Jordan, right?
I believe the match. Where's the match? Tell us where the match is, and we'll figure it out. We'll talk to our people. But in the meantime, we got to talk about, Roy, your other team, because these guys, the drama in Qatar, but they came back and it was tough. It took a lot to get this done against North Korea, but there were two major moments, obviously, I want to talk about. And number one is Mr. Fazuliev, Asian Young Player of the Year, continues to score for Uzbekistan. And the other thing is, how uncanny is this? Last match, North Korea, Uzbekistan, penalty for North Korea, save. Today, Uzbekistan, North Korea, penalty for North Korea, save. Mr. Yusupov getting it done.
Unbelievable game. This was a joyride, an absolute roller coaster to watch. And at the end there, man, I really thought North Korea was going to get the tie after the red card. Who got the red card? It was Eshmurilov got the red card. And it was just such an unbelievable ending. I didn't think it would be as close as it was. But at the end, the better team won. And at the end, a phenomenal player was the reason they won. And that gorgeous goal he scored. Again, he continues to rise for this team. But this game was close, man. This game was really, really close. From long stretches, I thought North Korea was the better team. It was a really, really tough outing for Uzbekistan. They should be more than thrilled that they got the 3 points, Rahi.
Yeah, but that's what a superstar player can do for you, right? That's what can make the difference. In Asia right now, the margins are very small. These teams are very competitive. That's why you're seeing so many strange results. And in the end, Uzbekistan has done what they needed to do. I mean, they survived. Don't get me wrong. They survived. But in the end, Vasuliev is the guy. And he's an incredible player. And that sometimes is all you need to make the difference.
You got to give credit to the goalie, though. I mean, come on, like that he like saves a penalty in that moment. That's so that changed the match. I mean, that's it. Because, you know, otherwise, and it keeps Uzbekistan in that second position. The team that's, of course, in their first position. Well, Roy, anything more to say about Uzbekistan before we move on?
I just love the performance. I love this wonderful young player. I think he's going to continue to rise. I think he's going to eventually become one of the top players in Asia. I think he's part of that conversation already right now. But Uzbekistan better watch out, man. Look who's breathing down their necks. The 5-0 winners, UAE. Unbelievable performance against Qatar. But they are 3 points behind, but ahead on goal differential and ahead on goals for. So one slip up and they drop down.
It's very interesting. We want to talk about what's happened to the rise in terms of UAE and Mr. Fabio de Lima, who scored 4 goals. He scored 4 goals today. It was absolutely unbelievable performance by him, scoring 4 goals. And then Qatar. Rahi, where the heck? What's going on here? Like, you know, what's happened?
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't have been surprised. Qatar has not looked good this entire qualification. They had a little bit of a false dawn in the last game, thanks to some help from extra injury time. But I think this is just what we've seen. This is not a team that's particularly good anymore. They were not good in the World Cup. Let's be honest. They really didn't play well. And so we've seen this coming for a while. This is a team that
they just won the Asian Cup. They just won the Asian Cup.
Yeah, true.
so this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Like, it's like, yeah, you can say that, but they just won the Asian Cup. So basically, like, you know, and I think what the Emirates did in this particular match, which is, you got to give a lot of credit, is right from the beginning, it was like nonstop barrage, right?
Yeah.
And so that's sort of, I think the bigger story here is maybe not the fall of Qatar, but what Paulo Bento has done for this Emirates team. You know, suddenly it's like it's a team on a mission.
Yeah, just the final note on Qatar is that, you know, this team is really 2 players, right? And it has been 2 players for a long time. And those players are when they don't perform, you know, you're in a bit of trouble when you realize, like, Almoez Ali is the guy, right? And this is the team, right? And that's who they rely on. So
Akram Afif and
Afif as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Any team who relies on 1 or 2 guys is bound to face situations like this. They're bound to have horrific games. We see it all over the soccer world. If you're relying on 1 or 2 guys, you're gonna get killed. You're gonna get killed here and there. We saw that today. But let's focus on Fabio de Lima, man. This guy has been tearing it up for Al Wasl for over a decade. And he becomes naturalized as a UAE citizen, and he just tore Qatar apart. It was unbelievable. I would say Brazil messed up by not calling up this guy. This guy plays better than Vinicius Jr., man. Vinicius Jr. can't even get a freaking goal for Brazil. Look at Lima.
He's not a young man. He's not a young man.
He's 31, I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. 10 years ago, maybe Brazil was in a different state than they are today, but they can definitely lose him today. Yeah.
Everyone they could get.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, what a disastrous national team.
Yeah. So that's going to be a battle between UAE and Uzbekistan. Finishing it off, of course, guys, the team that's at the top, and they're probably going to be joining us here in the US is, of course, Iran. again, we're in a situation where they go up 2-0, things are looking great, but then Kyrgyzstan comes back 2-2, and then they found a way to get it done. Is this, again, we have to see, are those the signs that show resilience and you take the positive, or is it like, okay, we blew another lead?
It's hard to say, isn't it? It's very difficult to say. The one thing I will say is they like to make their games entertaining for their fans. So they love to dial up the entertainment. You know, when the game gets too boring, they decide to give up a couple goals and then they start playing again. Honestly, at this point, I'm not sure because they're going to qualify for the World Cup and they're going to do it, I think, pretty comfortably. And we'll see. I think there's definitely cracks in the armor. But in the end, Roy, you need to get these wins, and they are winning these games.
They're winning pretty much all of their games. They haven't lost a single game. They've only drawn one game. I think they're the best team points-wise in the region, minus Japan, if I'm not mistaken.
Even on points with Japan,
even,
yeah,
because
same.
Japan is
Even
tied
on
one
points
game.
with
Yeah,
Japan.
16.
That's what I
Both have
thought.
16 points. Yeah.
Yeah, but this team is a joy to watch, guys. This team, it's must-watch television.
Yeah.
You want to get up early to watch Iran play. They are such a joy. They have tremendous players. Taremi is amazing. Hardani played a great game. It's just beautiful to watch the way this team plays. They have this gorgeous style. They're relentless in the attack. And I think the fact that Kyrgyzstan came back and just was so close to getting away with 1 point it's the strength of the region. Not the strength, but the parity of the region. There's a lot of parity here. There's teams that are on the bottom who are rising up, teams at the top who sometimes stoop to their levels. And that's what makes this region incredible.
Yeah. It's been an incredible ride for Asia, for the Asian World Cup qualifiers. A little bit of a longer video today, but we wanted to finish it off for the year since this is the last time we're going to get to see these qualifiers this year. Guys, there's a lot of awesome stories that have come out from the Asian World Cup qualifiers. Still a lot to take shape. Japan, Iran probably heading to the World Cup, but beyond them, a lot of teams out there. We're waiting for Roy to get his Uzbekistan jersey. He's got the Indonesian shirt on. Guys, take it away. Finish off the Asian World Cup qualifier World Cup review video. For those of you enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel. Keep watching the beautiful game.
You know, I'm sad. I'm sad that we're ending the year and we won't get to see. We have to wait so long because this is an incredible region, Roy. It's been so fun. There's so many teams to watch, so many storylines, so many players.
Yep. It's better than South America. It's better than our region, CONCACAF. It's better than European qualifying. It is the region to watch in the world. I pity the fool who is not watching these games.